Great and beautiful morning and evening to you all, wherever you are joining me at this moment. Welcome to 530 edition of InvestData Trading Academy live with Ambrose. Yes, I will tell you that the global market is rebounding, as we speak, on the strength of what? On the strength of corporate earnings and also expected negotiation between different country with US between now and the on the 1st of August. The good news is that the market is rebounding straightly on what? On the strength of earnings. That's why I tell you that anywhere in the world, earnings impact cannot be overemphasized. Why? Because this is what price feed on. In US market, in Asia market, in Europe, in Africa, in Nigeria, NGX, earnings is key because it tells you what the company is up to in the just completed quarter. As investor, because every investment against the future, looking at the company performance, it gives you an investment decision as you speak right now. And that's why we'll continue investment decision as you speak right now. And that's why we'll continue to share this insight anytime any day so that investor can make what informed investment decision. And not only that, as we have seen that in different markets there are different strategy you can trade them. Also understanding the what is happening in your domain is very important. We have seen that because of uncertainty surrounding geopolitical tension, tariff uncertainties, all these have put investors in this mode of in and out and also seeing oscillation in different markets. But good news this morning, the last trading day of the week, we see that Asia market is opening in the green. Stocks in Asia market are rising this morning, even when Japan is expressing some lag due to what? Due to the sticky word inflation that is raising its ugly head in that direction. But good news that Asia market kind of not also tracked what happened in the US market the previous day. We saw that a position taken in tech company and also consumer goods result that hit the market. Even chip makers, these big names, in tech releasing positive number that are trigger war sentiment in US market that also have extended the same momentum to most of the market, even in Europe as we speak, all are looking up at this moment. Why? Because of what this change was in momentum. Even I said earlier that in Japan, we are seeing that the market there is lagging because of what? Because of the consumer inflation remain up, sticky in July, presenting hawkish outlook for Bank of Japan. These are the things that report on the strength of the stellar earnings coming from the chip making what bellwether companies like TMC also impacted the market, also provided some limited expansion on that sector after the firm flagged some concern over impact of what higher US tariff trade. But still, there are some companies that have released a better number that kind of trigger the orbit we saw even in Asia and other markets now, even when there is some risk apathy or some risk expectation. But seeing this company really put together, that boosted what? Boosted the index and also confidence that we'll see these numbers coming, even though some of them are missed, but these strong earnings and economic data also supported what? Supported the S&P and at the same time Asia market to also to gain also about up now as we speak. But good thing is that if you look at Australia market also have hit a new high again. This when I mean Australia market, ASX 2200 hit record high. Asia tracking Asia World, Asia and the Wall Street trend. These are good things that are pushing this market. For me, it's a good one at this point. For Australia market to be recording 1.2% as we speak, for me, it's a good one. For me, that's also a point where we're expecting to see these earnings, supporting the market going to the future. But don't forget that also all eyes are still on some data that will still come further, in the week to give also more direction. Further in the new week, sorry, in the new week, early next week, that also give more, insight. But I believe that as they bet on what on Australia Reserve Bank also to see the rate cut will come, but after the left rate unchanged, expect that in coming months, expect to see rate cut, especially if that also will be very will give them because after they are hold for this July, expect that subsequently to start seeing a rate cut in that domain to boost the economy of Australia. But good thing, like I said earlier, China being the main, the main the economy in that region. I see that all the indexes in China or Chinese are looking at up. Even the Shanghai component is up by 0.6. We can also see that Hong Kong also added 0.9% up. Also, Singapore is not left behind, also up 0 by, and also India market, also I will tell you at this point, is also slightly in red, marginally 0.1 as we speak. Even as market is holding out to see India and the US trade deal, this world we are seeing that people are still watching to see where they will go from there. That will also support to see direction. But like I told you that Japan market is already in red as a result of what the sticky word inflation and trade concern as a word as consumer price index showed slightly bigger than expected decline in what in core inflation. These are the things we are also saying that it will also trigger rate hike word and the next coming back of Japan word policy meeting as we speak. But good news that numbers that are coming, like Q2 number are so far from the tech companies so far, and also consumer goods. We're seeing the life of Pepsi in US also posted a positive number. That's also reflecting. But I see how it goes. Let's wait and see. But good news that the market is looking up. That's the most important thing. Both in South Korea, we're seeing things are looking up there. Chip makers are also smiling. Even in Japan and in Chinese, we're seeing that semiconductor manufacturing also looking up. These are good things, even when we're seeing that all eyes are still on what is happening globally. But I tell you that this market actually already showing sign of better earnings hitting the market, and that also changing the market vibe as we speak now. European stocks edge higher as we speak now on what on strong earnings, and these are good things. And we are seeing also recovering in that direction in that market. For me, it's a good one for European stocks that climb these days, tracking also like I said earlier, overnight strength in Wall Street as investor digest series of what largely positive quarterly corporate earnings that hit the market. This is what is also shaping the market in Europe as we speak. As we speak now, you can see that the ADS index in Germany is up by 0.5, and that of CAC 40 in France is also up by 0.6, and FST, which is in UK, we were saying that FTSE is 100 is up also by 0.2. Good news as European stocks have been boosted by what? By gain overnight in US market, and also seeing that the company earnings are coming, and I say that this also have moved most of the stocks in green, and that also weighed on what on index US index in Asia. But we are coming to look at US market in a few minutes now. But the better than expected earnings from from the likes of from life of PepsiCo and also Korea United airline helped to kind of lift up the index in US, and that also spiral to order like also Netflix also number that came. These are the things that also pointing to this higher index we're seeing, and more in Europe. Quarterly earnings have also to be also flooding in or kind of trading in this time for that also as this influx of earnings come, that will continue to shape the market. And also we're seeing that the barrier shows sign of recovery. One of also the retail company there also showing that here they are coming out as expected, as even better than what they did in first quarter. We're seeing a recovery sign already in British luxury brand, struggling before now that, but now we're seeing a sign, in that's a good one. Consumer goods firms also in Europe has also agreed to also go into business of to make work of some of this agreement or partnership, or going to also impact the company. I believe that most investors are watching all this. Also don't forget that German producer price also fall again, and this also in the expansion as in line with expected in June. For me, it's also not a totally bad one, but they need to we expected to see the impact of ECB cutting rate to reflect more on this. But following the release of Eurozone inflation for when confining consumer prices rises by 2.3 on annual basis, in line with what European European Central Bank target, which is also not too bad, but I believe that they are working at it. And this is also the pressure of that zone, largely limited to what ECB probably has what room for further easing. That is also be very good. For US, I know this is trading about 30% tariff on European Union imports. It's also likely to complicate the decision right now as the ECB signal, in its June meeting that it was likely to work to keep rate unchanged, on the 2023 to 24 meeting that's coming up, next week. That period is unlikely. But also I've seen that the crude oil rise on a consign on a supply consign, and like I said, Friday we're seeing that the oil price has also inch up to trade at 69 dollar for 92 per barrel, which is also good for oil producing a country. Why also when it crossed 70 to 75, that will put another pressure or kind of trigger inflation. But I believe that relatively low oil price will also impact positively on those countries that depend on them for for heating up their business, or for all these are what we're expecting in this period. But on that, let's quickly look at the final one. Look at the US before we come to Africa to see what is happening in Africa. But I believe that I know before now I'll look at Africa market. We're seeing a good dimension in Africa market. But let's look at what is happening in US. In US futures in US have opened on a good one this hour, higher than what we saw yesterday at the close of trade, and as a result of what Netflix result or earnings hitting the market, and also the house also successfully passing bill to cut what aid to other world other Africa countries, a general aid to the globe. These are the things we expect that have a worth impacting the market. But as we speak now, US market is in the green with investor close, watching eyes on what, keep their eyes on earnings and macroeconomic data. Left, like I said earlier, top beat what their estimate in terms of earnings, but share price also same giant also slip likely as flag of it a result may not also live up to up to sky high expectation. But I believe that there is also potential that all eyes are still on consumer goods, and also consumer sentiment report will be out of today also to give more. As these numbers are coming about all this data, as the world also shaping the US and also the market sentiment in that regard. So that's it that an extension of the gain will be posted in the previous sector will likely happen today, but fueled by what investor optimism around albeit in second quarter earnings and sign of what resilient growth condition despite lingering what tariff uncertainties. These are things we expect that also will continue to drive the market. But I believe that we are seeing what the market extending what it did yesterday in US market that is our with all eyes on what on earnings, on this favorable earnings will give more impetus, more force or more energy to this market that is growing in that domain. But I believe that everywhere investors know what they are watching, and as you're keeping your eyes on those things as they come, they confirm your direction. There's any pullback we have seen so far in this market, you can see that those that are trading with tech analysis have taken advantage of it also to position ahead of what ahead of a Q2 number. Just like what we're going to discuss today, how to position with what position with pullbacks in any market, especially on NGX today. That will give us an insight to see what the position will look like, how to position with pullbacks on the NGX. This topic for today, but I believe that we are seeing rebound in other markets now across the globe, and all eyes are still some of these countries are saying having their MPC meeting or policy meeting, what we call it, next week, just like also we are having Nigeria. For US market, it's not going bad. We're seeing that the factors that are driving the market there are coming back, even when there's a little uncertainties as a tariff direction or Trump manner or way of announcing on the executing his own policy. These are that is shaping that market. But Fed also wonder on rates, with the economic background we're seeing in mind. Fed has so largely adopted wait and see attitude toward the future rate decision as to speak, and that is what I'm also expecting to see in CBN policy meeting starting on Monday. That wait and see attitude will also likely happen here in Nigeria, as we are seeing that inflation figure have kind of slowed down for 3 times in Nigeria, but we are seeing that the month on month the core inflation and food inflation are still raising their ugly head. And I know that yes, CBN will look at those figures and that might help them not to might kind of signal them not cutting rate. But if they cut rate, good for the economy and good for the market. Even rate of change also will sustain what we are seeing in the market now. Naturally, don't forget that when this rate is sustained for 3 times, it signal that any decline in inflation between now and August might likely see a cut in the month of September. On that note, let investors keep their finger crossed and keep on watching, even as we're seeing that mature market is also giving sign of recovery on the strength of earnings. Come back to Africa. So coming back to Africa, we're also saying that yes, that African market is mixed, and majority of the market in Africa are in green as we speak. NGX is not left behind. Also at open in the green after crossing a strong psychological line of 130,000 yesterday, first in the history of Nigeria market. This is a new all-time high that the market okay, as we speak, market have tested this morning around the 130,738 from 130,282, 83 that it closed yesterday. You can see that momentum is still in the market as we speak. But before we're going to look at the chart here, we look at what is the market data in Nigeria as we speak. Like I told you earlier that the market is already in green here, opening on a positive direction for our market, which is also a good news for our market right away. But the good thing is that the market is up. We're seeing that market is up by almost 0.38%, almost 0.40% right now. We're seeing that the market is on a positive momentum, reversing 2 days of what of negative market internal. I said that we're having 41 gainers against 21 losers or decliner at this hour, and we're seeing more gainers on the chart, and we're seeing both high cap stocks, medium and the blue chip company rebounding. Those are pullback, and that's why the topic today is very, very interesting. That you need to pay attention to when you see a market that is an uptrend, because if you look at the market for the straight 11 days, today is making it to almost 12 days, and we're getting to a week, 2 weeks of up rally for the market. Is that market is strong, and that's true that there's something behind this market. We're seeing volume reflecting the interest or the role or say signal the participation of institutional investors or players. Not only that, facility investor, or the market operators all taking position ahead of what ahead of the Q2 or mid-year earnings, at the same time with all eyes fixed on what on the MPC meeting coming on Monday and Tuesday next week. And today being the last trading day, we expect to see profit taking as we have seen the previous days on the Wednesday and Thursday. But today, Friday, being the another day of the profit, we are seeing a sign of position taking, even when people are trading with caution, and it's because of market has entered really at overbought region, looking at some technical indicators, and that's why tomorrow on the paid class we're looking at trading, technical trading, to see the headwinds and also the tailwinds on the NGX as we speak. Looking at the opportunity that is still in the market, how can we position it? We'll be discussing that one tomorrow at the live session between 12 and 1 by tomorrow. But today our focus will be on what on the how to position using I said earlier, how to position with pullbacks on the NGS. We have seen pullbacks in different stocks, and how to position pullbacks has to start with what one, you having to understand your goal in the market, and at the same time looking at what some technical indicators that will help you to know exactly what to do in this market. It's very, very important. Pullbacks are part and parcel of the market, and that's why profit taking, market up and down is very, very important. And that's why every good trader in any market should understand how to kind of position in a market that has four phases. If we really believe that the economy has phases, also the market has phases, it is now done on you and I as a trader in this market to see how to identify which stage the market is and what is the next strategy to play this market. Once you're able to understand the strategy to play this market, you will be able also to stay ahead of the market and also smile to the bank at any given time. It is good to start by knowing the phases of the market. And don't forget that this market phase we are saying is very, very important for any market you are playing. Also for individual stocks, the individual stock have to follow this phase. The market has to follow this phase. But there are things that are very, very important you need to know. How smart are you as a trader, as an investor? Know to understand where the market is going and what are surrounding. That's why time is also is very, very important. That's why this pullback would also in 2 days that also form our topic today is because we are seeing profit taking, and profit taking is part and parcel of the market. But now that market is still on what I call an uptrend. This uptrend is very, very important as to speak. Right away, market has crossed another 30,000 to 31,000 mark. The stocks are going up. You must see that means market is still on what on the markup phase. And don't forget that those that have followed me already said that timing and also the phase of the market is very, very important. And don't forget that in any market you are trading, either in US, in UK, in Asia, in Europe, this phase hold suffice. Why? We have this four phase starting from what we call accumulation phase. We have the markup phase. We have the distribution phase. We also have the decline phase, which also can be called the markdown phase. At this phase, there are different scenarios that you will see. It will show you the presence of the smart money and also where funds are entering and where funds are leaving. You must pay attention to this circle so that understanding this circle will show how smart you are as a trader or investor in the market. Because if you see a markup phase, how long will that markup phase? Don't forget that after markup phase, the next level is what is distribution. For distribution, you are entering also the what you are entering also the markdown. And when you are experiencing in the accumulation phase, you might not see much volume in accumulation phase because at that time volume is relatively low. But at markup phase, we now see volume coming, so that funds are entering the market. You can now see that the presence of smart money, institutional investors are there. That's why you are seeing activities increasing, volume increasing. That's why you must pay attention to understand where is the market for you to also take advantage of this. Also, in the period of the distribution phase, you also going to see that at that time markets also having volume. But when you start seeing that volume is coming out and price is not going up again, you are seeing just like the sign we saw 2 days that sent some signal, but because of high price stocks gain, they sustain the market even when the market is having negative market break. We are seeing market because of the flat capital that control the index, and that's why you must pay attention to what to your sectorial index that we have seen a missed one in the last 2 days. That before we have seen almost the 4, 5, 6 index gaining, but consider in recent days we have seen 2, 3, up, down to show that profit taking is still in the market. And also as at yesterday, you can see that there is no stock that make new or high, new high as at yesterday, but because most of them are rebounding from the pullback, and that is the importance of pullback. Yes, coming back to pullback, I think I've told you discussed about the four phase of the market. In a jiffy now, I say about accumulation, where you see that your volume is relatively low, but at markup phase, which we will experience now. For example, in this chart now, I have to demonstrate and show you this markup phase and all. At this point, from here to here, you can see this point here. Let's say from here to here might be accumulation phase. Here is what a markup phase. Before you see this markdown, or here at this point is distribution phase. Then before you now see the markdown, another accumulation phase is all this. Before you see this markup here, here is the distribution phase. At this point, before you saw this pullback, you can see this is a markdown or a decline phase. Before another accumulation phase at this point, before this markup phase, you will also experience also another distribution phase, because at this point you can see that distribution it came up, but it's still until it started breaking down this volume. You now see another markdown to a level that here to this place is another form of accumulation. Before you now see this markup, then another accumulation markup. You can see this was just this at this point distribution. Before you continue another distribution markup, then you are seeing distribution phase here at this trend, but no serious markdown or here. Only we have experienced accumulation, markup phase, and also distribution, but we have not really experienced a markdown phase or a decline phase. As we speak now, market is extending the markup phase, and that's why we are seeing volume increasing, and which the chart here have shown you. This volume, can see that since market started in almost they can see from here, the volume has remained above the average traded volume. Look at it here, sharp. This line here shows that the average traded volume recently, and market in all this journey have volume have surpassed this one. That volumes in the market, and this review what the presence of what institutional investor in the market. You must pay attention to this. And now that I see that market has also crossed another cyclical line of 131, and we want to see that the market breadth has started changing again back to positive. Seeing as we speak now, we're having about 41 gainers against 21 gainers. This is at this time. When I come back to check the market, I'm still explaining how to trade with a pullback. Now that you see that the market is already on at the markup phase. Yes, what will you do? You target stocks that are pulled back in recent time and have lost less than between 15 to 10%, or even 15 to what to 18%. Watch at now that the earnings is around the corner. Oh, look at the company's value line, what we call a value area. That value area is between what the resistance and the support level. For example, let's quickly look at the chart now. The chart of what of a car button will give us an insight of what we want to car button. Good, good. You can see that this is stock that have rallied, but you can see it as at this point from here to this point, to this point, you can see it's a distribution phase. But once it break down this major, it enter a decline phase. But you can see that the previous day, this is the symbol that the candlestick that show that the stock is trying to resist the word decline. You can see it here. Before you know it, today you can see that it's coming up. But what you do at this point, in between the resistance level and the support level is the value area. Once the stock is within that value area, you look at to see whether it will be a breakout. For example, this is another resistance level here. This is another strong support level. Now that it's talking about, you watch this stock and any seasons around the corner after MPC meeting on Monday and Tuesday. I'll tell you, as you're entering the last week of July, you're going to see inflows of what of earnings into the market, especially December year end and also March year end first quarter. All will be in the market to give you an insight the position of these companies and what to expect. This is for this. For example, let's take Zenith Bank also as example, looking at what trading a pullback is what we are doing now to see how you can take advantage of this pullback in this banking stock now, because I tell you a lot of potential in the banking stock today. With the pullbacks we just witnessed, as many of them have signaled that they're going to pay dividend after they've sorted themselves out with what with the regulator. That will give you a kind of rest of mind that these banks are coming powerfully. Quickly look at the Zenith Bank to watch. You can see that Zenith Bank is still at its distribution level. This is the markup phase for now. You can see that it pulled back for today. It's trying to see that the position is once it crossed here, that is where you now see that this stock has entered a decline phase. As we speak now, it's still at the distribution phase. You know to target what is going to end today. It's already selling at 72, 72 from almost touching 78. Pull back. Look at it at this hour. You need to watch to see what next. But quickly, let's look at the 1 hour chart to see the present. Okay, it's a 1 hour chart the stock is doing. You can see that this is strong, support level you need to watch. From here to here, you need to pay attention. Any rebound here and a breakout this say that this stock is set to go up. Especially if as they're coming and they release their half year result are going to audited and come with a dividend, and also as they have settled all their outstanding what we call it is it forbearance and all, and that also give them a sign that yes, they are about to do what they expect to do. For me, there's no cause for alarm. Zenith Bank is quick to pay attention. Access Bank also look at them because we are seeing a pullback, and that pullback the opportunity to buy into them. Or you consider also the low cap stock and some medium cap stock that pullback are rebounding, especially if these earnings are coming and with expectation. And don't forget also the market also tweeting toward fundamentally sound companies as to speak because of earnings expectation. You must also be in that regard to see exactly that these companies you are buying into are into value at the same time. So that as investor or trader, you must know what you are buying in this company to know exactly where they are going. Because the Q2 number will determine the strength of the company, and we are going to expect to them also to go up. That is what we are likely to see as a trader or investor at this time. Pay attention to that. That's why how to trade earnings is very, very important, which we also have discussed in the platform. Go back to the video and check how to trade earnings, because the earnings are already hitting the market. We have seen two already not in the market. Let's pay attention as we look forward to see others as we speak. Yes, on this note, let's look at the market because of our time. It's fast spent already gave me a sign that I overstayed in this topic, but let me quickly go and see what the market is doing so that we can equally conclude and call it a day and wait for yes. You can see this on 1 hour chart. On 1 hour chart, market is still very, very strong. Even at this point that it starts trending, it's still very, very strong as to speak. You need to also pay attention now that this is a 1 hour chart. Market is still looking good. No, we are still maintaining that uptrend. But quickly, let me call only just two indicators because my time is fast spent. If not, before they yank me out because of the time. But let me quickly call those indicators. We look at MACD, look at money flow. We take our T line. I don't joke with T line when because I use it to work as my to gauge the momentum in the market, to take buy and sell position in the market is very. If you look at your 1 hour chart, I can see that the market is still very strong. You can see where it's going. This 1 hour chart we're looking at money flow is looking up almost around 86. You can see also that MACD is also very positive. This is for 1 hour chart. Quickly look at also 2 hours chart. On the same process we're seeing sharp market is still doing well. Momentum is still very strong, and these are the things we are seeing. If momentum is strong, at the end of the day we are seeing market looking on good, and now market extending the markup phase for me is a good one for the market. 1 hour chart, you can see that the market is very strong for this hour. Let's quickly look at only the life of what Smith is what we're going to look now. For those that are in attended masterclass, we have meet our target already. Within just 13 trading days, you can see that on 4 hours that there's a sign you are seeing here. The sign is fine, but it says there's also time of profit taking already. You can see others are green. You can see, for me, you need to also watch very carefully on these stocks. Then you can also look at it. You can see on 1 hour chart, you can see that profit taking has also hit it. Like I just said earlier, you can see it here. You need to also take profit and also come back when it pull back in the market. On this note, I will say thank you and see you on Monday, hopefully by God's grace. Good to be here with you this afternoon, knowing that yes, you understand kind of getting something from how to trade pullback is very important. Understand the phase of the stock. When I mean stock, the same phase for the market, the accumulation, the markup, the distribution, and also decline, and also using your resistance and support level to see the value area, then apply other indicators to confirm a breakout and looking at your volume. These are the things to trade a pullback. Pullback is part of the market, part of the market dynamics, profit taking, buying, but always trade your plan and also have your goal that will guide you in this market. Thank you and see you next week again. Bye.